Anyway, what a difference a day makes in terms of the international borders and the government's stance on them. There was this headline in the Sunday Telegraph yesterday and this one in the Sydney Morning Herald today. So, Treasurer banks on reopened borders. So, are we opening the borders next year or not? Well, there's an assumption in the budget they will be open to immigration next year. That's a Treasury Department projection, not backed in, it seems, necessarily by Scott Morrison. This is what the PM told the Sunday Telegraph reporter on the VIP in Queensland about immigration. He said, I can't tell you, I don't know. Now, as we look at COVID, it's not necessarily as a short-term thing, but as a medium-term challenge. That's where our minds turn. And he said this about opening the borders. The next big step that can be taken is that Australians who are vaccinated, based on clear evidence that this prevents transmissibility, and that's a key line, I'll come back to that, are able to travel and return to Australia without having to hotel quarantine. And ideally, we only have to engage in some sort of home quarantine of a less restrictive nature. And indeed, if for whatever reason a state might from time to time impose some lockdown, then an Australian who is vaccinated might be exempted from those sort of restrictions. That's the next step. So ask yourself the question, which state and territory is going to adopt that? Well, I think New South Wales might. Doubt anyone else would. At least Scott Morrison's being frank. Greg Hunt and Josh Frydenberg were talking more about opening up as they tried to take some of the heat out of the issue yesterday. This is a big issue to address after the election, potentially the biggest issue of the campaign. What Australia does post-vaccination. And it looks at the moment like it will be small target on it, the government. I'm sure the opposition will be too. And Australia is getting what it's used to, a tough on borders election, which is where my concern comes that we could be locked off from the rest of the world for the next 4 years. But it all comes down to the data. How effective is the vaccine? Does it just stop more people becoming sick, or does it lead to a herd immunity situation? This is the key, Kieran. So does it stop you getting the virus? What's been said to me is if it stops you getting the virus, if that's proven, then our international borders will be open earlier. If it just stops people getting as sick, maybe not everyone, the government will be more reluctant to move quickly on it. Yeah.